Welcome to the Magic on the Inside podcast by the Sisters Enchanted, where we chat magic, hot topics, personal development, and good old-fashioned life. Brew up something delicious and sit with us for a spell. Welcome to this episode of the Magic on the Inside podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and I'm joined by none other than
Anna. I'm Anna. Insert hello.
I think Anna has forgotten that we're recording our video as well. Anna was just mocking me on screen.
And then the other day I was making a face because I was being a Debbie Downer about myself, but it looks like I just had like a bad attitude.
Alas.
But it was about myself.
You know what? If only we had a class called Magical Self-Care that you could take or a love magic class.
I think I contributed some to that magical self-care class.
You should go refresh. You know what? This is something. Okay, well, firstly, we are here to talk today about the Scorpio Full Moon in Beltane. But let me tell you that in our Enchanted Journey program, we have so many amazing resources. And I think that like as the people who create them, we often forget how much useful information is in there. And when I was looking at our Conjuring Abundance course, which is another program we have, and I was realizing like all the good stuff I have in there around just bringing your intentions into being and setting goals and making more, not just like manifesting more money out of the blue, but like making more money in your daily life and just being wealthy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have such good resources in here and I can use them. So I think resources. You need to go into the Enchanted Journey program and check out I Love Magic and Magical Self-Care. Effective immediately.
For some context, I mean, many listeners here know that, and Sarah knows that my personal self has been a bit in chaos since baby Riker was born.
Yeah, well, he's almost 6 months old. You're going to be in chaos for a few more years.
I know.
My friend. I know. Alas. Chaos. Anna has a 9-year-old son. Yeah. So Anna has a 9-year-old and a almost 6-month-old. And my kids are almost 4 and 7. So Anna had the first child, and he was the easiest by far of all 4 of our children combined.
Yes.
So my kids, when I had them, I was not prepared for them not being like Anna's first child. And then, you know, I, as the mom, like obviously I settled in, like this is my normal, whatever. And now Anna's child is more like my kids were as babies, which was not what Anna remembers from her baby rearing experience.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm here to tell you that if baby Riker continues on this path to be like my children, you're not looking at like clear headspace for another 3 years.
I was gonna say, you don't even really have clear headspace because funny story. This is, you know what? You know who needs a YouTube channel? Your kids. Your Adam could do like 5-minute talks with Adam. 5-minute talks with Adam, all about dinosaurs. And just like put some headphones on that kid and turn on a camera for 5 minutes and just let him say like the things that he says.
He says so much. He doesn't stop talking. He woke up the other day
and he gets closer. He's like, and then the dinosaurs. And then they did the dinosaur thing. And then more dinosaurs.
He woke up the other day and the first words out of his mouth, I think he'd been dreaming. Because he woke up and he was like, his eyes were kind of opening. And he goes, Adabra Cadabra. Like the killing curse in Harry Potter. Those are the first words out of his mouth.
You said he'd been dreaming at first.
I think so.
I thought you were going to say he'd been drinking. And I was like, well, Sarah, that's just not appropriate.
No, you shouldn't share that with the public. No, yeah, my kids are wild. Scarlett went to go, she had a dentist appointment this morning, and she went wearing a hand-me-down dance costume with like tulle and sequins. She had on her her high-heeled sandals with her socks pulled up to her knees, her hair in a pony, and she had some blue eyeshadow like all over half her face. And it was like mermaid headband. And that I came out of the shower. I asked her to get dressed while I was in there, and I came out. That's what she was wearing to the dentist. I was like, perfect. Let's go.
Of course she was.
And everybody there was like, look at her in her makeup. Like, yeah. Yep. She appears to have put all of the makeup on.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. So speaking of Scorpio and our children, Anna has 2 Scorpio kids, and the moon. One of my kids is a Scorpio moon. Anna's got 2 Scorpio sons, and the moon is headed to Scorpio for its full moon status on April 27th, 2021. So, Anna, we're going to talk about Beltane today, too. We have a lot to talk about.
I know. I am not fully equipped for this
Scorpio full moon.
No,
for the videos.
YouTube videos.
I know. I'm not with our nice background. I'm in the office, and your kids' pack and play is behind me in this here floral overcoat. I don't know, what would you call it?
I had a breezy blouse.
A breezy blouse.
Breezy blouse. I know. I have a little like friendly fly that like keeps zooming around, so I keep on trying to get it, and then I realize that I'm on camera and I probably shouldn't make faces or try to do that. But this is real life.
Yeah.
Happening.
Okay. Scorpio full moon. That's real life too.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna be driving home in a car, very long car ride under that Scorpio full moon.
Well, that should be fun.
Yeah, sounds like a blasty blast.
A blast in a glass. Yeah, the Scorpio moon, full moon, is a lot intense, right? Because Scorpio is one of those signs that tends to have a lot of intensities about them. It could also be a time of would be a really good time for some self-reflection and evaluation.
Also, Scorpio is a water sign.
It is a water sign.
We know that the moon likes water signs.
Yes.
And the moon is all about both release and manifestation.
And Scorpio loves to release and rebirth as the great, phoenix that it is.
Exactly. So I'm feeling like while a Scorpio full moon is sounding tense to me due to my the planets that I have Mars and Pluto in Scorpio. So, that can lead to some abrupt change in my demeanor. I will say I can go from all jokes 1 second to I'm no longer joking.
Yeah, that's something. It's really something.
1 minute I'm laugh crying, the next I'm yell crying.
Yes.
That can happen. Wouldn't be something out of the ordinary. Yeah, so that when I think of Scorpio and just what I have in Scorpio in my birth chart, it's a little stressful. But a Scorpio full moon, though, I think is like prime energy for change, transformation. Because when we look at a lunar cycle, we're growing an idea or we're growing a way of being or an intention or whatever for the first 2 weeks. Then we have the full moon, which is like the high point of a lunar cycle. And then everything sort of releases for the next part. So with that Scorpio energy and that transformation, that change, it's like that deeper, what are you changing, in your life internally or whatever, like all the stuff we grew, what needs to change to keep moving forward, tossing that in, changing it up at that full moon.
Yes.
So what are some things that you would recommend? Like, is there a specific thing that you would recommend somebody do under a Scorpio full moon?
Well, I was just thinking myself, you're saying all of these things. And I'm thinking I'm a Scorpio rising, right? So that's going to be on my ascendant, which means that my descendant on the other side, my 7th house cusp is in Taurus, which is the season that we're in. And so I was just thinking about the ascendant relationship house, Taurus Scorpio relationship that I should probably be looking into during this time, and like what that means for me, and as well as the fact that I have 2 Scorpio children. Maybe it'd be a good time to lunar track what happens in our lives during a Scorpio full moon. Maybe, just maybe. I think that it is, especially because we have this kind of, Taurus energy as well happening, that it is a good time to just really sit back and reevaluate yourself and how you're probably feeling on an emotional level, and then trying to find creative outlets to step into the next, phase, because with Taurus energy happening, that is a good time to be creative and things of that sorts. And then Scorpio is a good time to let things go that are no longer serving you, which is kind of the essence of a full moon anyway. But Scorpio is really good about, so usually during full moon times, like, you want to release or let go of something. And a lot of times I think that when we're releasing or letting something go, we kind of do it in this way that is, and you can speak to this if you don't think that this is correct, but I think sometimes when we're following a moon cycle, or we're trying really hard to follow a moon cycle and to like do it right, that we, when we go to release something, we do it kind of in a superficial way, like I'm releasing how much guilt I have towards this, or I'm releasing what resentment I have towards this, or I'm releasing that relationship or that job or that thing that's no longer serving me. And, we light the paper, or we light the bay leaf and we let it go. And I think that sometimes we do our best to let things go, but we don't do it wholeheartedly or with the grandest of intention to actually let it go. When it's a Scorpio time, because it's a time of that death and rebirth and that energy of like really letting things go and coming through with something new, there's a lot of energy behind Scorpio to actually like cut the cord of that or release, because Scorpio energy leans so much into being like, this is like a finalized, like, sorry, no thank you. Because you have their little scorpion claws, right, and their stinger that makes it final, like you get stung by a scorpion, depending on the scorpion and what type of scorpion poison it has, yes, I'm sure there is technical coming back from that, but in general, there's not a lot coming back from that. So it's a really good time to be like super final, or to do something with such grand intention that you're going to not be superficial about letting something go. You're going to do it with intention to leave it behind you and come out different, better.
Well, and there's that story that you often tell about the scorpion with is it the frog? And they are going to get across the water. And the frog says, no, because you're going to sting me and I'm going to die. And the scorpion's like, why would I do that? Because I need to get across also. Or no, the frog's carrying the scorpion, is it? I don't know, whatever.
The scorpion asks for a ride across.
Yeah. And then the frog and the scorpion's like, well, why would I do that? Because then neither of us are going to get across, so I wouldn't do that. And the frog's like, okay, I guess that makes sense. And then the scorpion gets on and stings the frog. And the frog's like, why'd you do that? And the scorpion says, this is in my nature, which is the way you tell the story. Yes. And I think that's so interesting what you're talking about with release and superficial release, because so often we release stuff like, oh, I release my attachment to this person, or I release like this behavior or this whatever. But if it's in your nature to be a way, the simple act of releasing it is not enough. You have to really, like, if I say to myself, oh, I release my anger towards, okay, so I always talk about my poor husband. If he ever listens to all our videos and sees how much I use our marriage as an example for things, he's going to be like, Sarah. No, actually,
it's a constant shadow work and relationship building.
He never calls me. He has a nickname for me, so he would never actually say Sarah, because he never calls me.
I was like,
Sarah.
I don't think I've ever actually heard him call you Sarah.
Yeah, no. Whenever I say like that, he'll say something like, no, I wouldn't say that, number one, because I never call you that. So but anyway, he would. But so like if I'm saying, well, I release resentment, or I release like my I release the fighting, or I release the bickering or something like that. My true nature is like releasing that is fine, but my true nature
is to keep it in your back pocket.
Yes. Like, so I can release all I want, but it's acknowledging who you are, and we can change who we are, like me this year versus me last year is just, and astrology has been a big part of that, but is different. And that's because though, that I looked at my true nature. And so maybe it's not releasing, or I release the resentment. Maybe it's like I release I release my attachment to time every day. So like if for me an issue was, I don't know, I'm like kind of making it up now, but if my issue was, this is actually a real thing. My husband gets up later than I do every day. And so for a while, it was like so annoying to me. But like I could release, that's a tangible thing, like, okay, I'm going to work on not caring about the time that one wakes up in the morning. It's like one thing rather than this grand thing of I'm going to release resentment, because you're not going to release resentment, particularly if it's in your nature to be a way. So looking at one tangible thing to release and then transforming yourself through that, and then doing that again and again and again. But I love that what you said about superficial release, which I think a lot of people do, where we have to look at like, well, what is my true nature?
Right. Well, like me, we were talking about expectations. My expectation is that my house has no dust, no grime, no food, no nothing left out, that it's clean. But I also live with four boys. Math, three boys. So I live with my husband, my brother, and
four boys
and my two sons. So 4 boys. Math, Anna. Math is not my strong suit. I was going to label them out. So 4 boys. 4. And it's really hard to keep the expectation that like my house should be a certain way. And I oftentimes have to release the expectation or my idea of what it should be. And obviously when it gets like so bad, I'm like, okay, seriously, like somebody needs to help or somebody needs to do something. But when it's not that bad, I have to remind myself to take a deep breath and let it go and be like, it's not that bad. And I have to remind myself that it's okay to have a day where like, we're not hustling to keep things clean, or that like there's some dishes in the sink because like you said, there's a almost 6-month-old here. And, my husband works a full-time job and I work and my brother works and, kids come and go, and that I can't ever just say like, I'm going to release the fact that my house is not clean, because it's not in my nature to live in a chaotic house, but I can release the expectation that it has to be perfect and work on reminding myself that semi-clean is better than a mess, and that it can't always be the way that I want it to be. Because like there's also a cat here. There's always dust and things. So I can release my expectation that it needs to be every day perfect. And I need to find some middle measure of like what is comfortable for me. So I will never release the need for a clean house, because it's in my nature to need it. But can I reform what that looks like and make it so that my brain can wrap itself around some chaos? I can. But that's a regular. That's like, we always talk about shadow work. That's shadowy in its essence. And again, a Scorpio full moon is a great time to do that, because also Scorpios and Scorpio season, which we talk a lot about in expedition astrology, because Scorpio is one of those signs that just get such a negative cloak wrapped around them. So when it's a Scorpio full moon, people are like, oh no, it's a Scorpio full moon, or they don't want to like do things, or when they hear you're a Scorpio, they do this, and they kind of recoil away from you. And I think it's also a really good time to maybe sit with what negative ideas you have around that sign too. So even if you don't have like a great intention or to let go of, or something to set into motion, it could be a really good time to reevaluate, just a negative thought cycle or pattern that you're having. If you feel like you don't have any of those, to journal about even just Scorpio season or energy in its essence, and to rewrite the narrative of what that looks like, because so many times people who are Scorpios are under this, or under a season like this, they think negatively about themselves, they think negatively about their emotions, that they have to keep themselves in more check when Scorpio season is at its richest. And really, that's surface level Scorpio. Scorpio is so deep. And we talk about that frog and Scorpio story, and it really takes Scorpion story. It's not the Scorpio and the frog, it's the Scorpion and the frog. How much it takes for somebody who has a strong Scorpio energy attached to them, like I do myself, how much it takes to actually get them to react. Like, and you know me, like how much does it really take? Maybe when I was younger, it was a lot less, but I'm pretty, and Scorpio is, I have a Virgo stellium, but the placement of my Scorpio and what else is in Scorpio makes it so that that's like Pluto kind of rules my chart. It was very Scorpio. But how hard it is to push my buttons, like really push them. And I think that people have that bad narrative about Scorpios, that you're going to watch out for them or got to watch out for that season. And really, there's so much more depth to it. And I think it's a really good time to reevaluate yourself, your negative ideas you might have about yourself, and really digging into them and holding a mirror up and being like, okay, I say this to myself, but am I really like that? Or is it really like that? And getting to like the deeper levels of it, because it's a good time to dig deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That it is.
That's my tangent. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think like just considering and so transformation, I mean, I think if you wanted to do something hands-on, it could be really cool to do like, I don't know, make like a body mist or something where you're like taking one thing and turning it into something else, so like you're taking bath salts and then making a salt bath, right? So it's like the salt melts or whatever it does, dissolves, I guess, into the water. Or you're taking like I don't know, making like a gem elixir or something, but you're taking one thing, transforming it, with the intent to look at your true nature in some way. Like, I think that could be a great practice under the Scorpio full moon. To
not release something superficially, but Scorpio energy, or people that have a strong Scorpio way about them, they change themselves often, like physically speaking. And this could be a good time too, and like you were saying, I might take back and look at the Course in Magical Self-Care or something. This might be a really good time for me to one more time go through my clothes, and not superficially release them, but to like actually get them out of the house if they're no longer serving me. It might be a really good time to, release some reminders of things that, actually get them out of the house, instead of doing an Anna where I might cut off all my hair or dye it a funky color because I'm trying to change myself to make myself feel better. That maybe I could get rid of some other things to nourish that, so that I'm not cutting off all of my hair and then having like regret 2 days later because I did a superficial change, like that when you cut off your hair or
token Anna.
Yeah, but that's a superficial change. Does that help me like in the moment? Maybe. And at one point in my life, I thrived on dyeing my hair, cutting it off, doing all these things. But now I'm just in a place that when I do that, I feel worse. And so it might be a good time for me to do something that's not on a superficial level, and to make changes that I can't like take back right away, or that I can't change again overnight. If I dye my hair black and I hate it, I can always dye it another color. Well, I mean, black's probably not the best choice because it's really hard to dye your hair over black, but
that's true. I'm just looking at my birth chart.
Yeah.
Which one's so you're the astrologer, not me. The south node is the U-shaped one, right? The horseshoe.
Yeah.
My south node, my Mars, my Pluto are all in Scorpio. And my 6th house, I think, actually starts at the very end of Scorpio, like barely. Yeah. I'd have to pull.
Is that right? Yes, that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's at like, just looking at it, I think it's got it. I mean, I don't have the number because it's just, I have like a cut off screenshot that I'm looking at right now on my phone, but I think it's at like, it's got to be like 29 degrees or something, or like very close to. But yeah, I think my sixth house actually starts in Scorpio.
On the
Oh,
chart,
you
I
have it in front of you?
It's in my
Your
astrology
folder.
The chart that I have in front of me, which is from software of the professional sorts, looks like it's a 0 degree Sagittarius on that.
Yeah, it's like real tight on the screenshot that I have.
Tight, but on the thing that I have for you, it looks like you have Mars at 0 degrees in your fifth house, Pluto, your south node, and Juno.
Yeah, I'm a lot of Scorpio. I'm a lot of Scorpio and a lot of Sagittarius. Looks like I got some stuff in Taurus too that I never really paid attention to before.
Your north node's in Taurus.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some things. I just was having a thought about your chart, and I'm going to do some lookings at it again. I'm having definitely a deep call into trying to like look at people's charts again, which would also maybe be a good thing for me to do in life.
I think it's like, yeah, like what does it say about a person who's like, I am going to change because it's my true nature to just like pivot course, but also I have all that Sagittarius energy. So like,
Sarah, you're somebody that would pivot course so fast, but you would leave it in the dust that like nobody really knew if you did it or not.
I know, like the Tasmanian
like,
devil.
Did Sarah leave that behind? Is that a project that we're no longer doing because it got left so quick?
I know. It's like I changed so fast that it's like, were we ever even here?
I just really need to do some astrologizing. That's not a word.
My chart. Yeah. Okay.
Of a lot of things.
So let's talk about Beltane for just a few minutes here before we go.
Well, I think about
on this. And on, my friends. Beltane, May 1st. So the I don't know what's happening. It's been a day.
My friend.
So the Wheel of the Year, we know it's like it is, when you look at it, there's fixed dates. It will tell you like this is the date of this. But really there's seasonal shifts. So Beltane, if you look up like what's the date of Beltane, it will tell you that it is the 1st of May.
Yes.
Why is Anna's looking at me like I'm crazy? It will
because I'm astrologizing and I should stop.
That it's the 1st of May.
And my baby's crying.
Yes, I hear that. And it's okay. It's the 1st of May. But really it's a season. So whenever you feel like the earth has really bloomed around you, that's like your Beltane season. So Beltane, it's like fairies and sexy energy and fire and like running naked around a maypole. All right, you will not find me running naked around any maypoles. But I mean, if that's your jam, this is the time to do that. It's like the phallic imagery and symbolism of a maypole and planting the seeds. We are planting the seed at this season, and it's really just it's blooming. It's flowers, flower crowns, like I said, merriment and berries and honey and bees, and like it's just so pleasant. It's such a fun time. So for Beltane coming up again, you'll want to look like if it's really come May 1st, if it's really cold where you are still, it might not feel very Beltane-y, and that's fine. Celebrate when it is warmer for you, or it feels like that Beltane energy. You can celebrate anytime in May, really, but consider that sort of god and goddess energy, the masculine, feminine, how that comes together. Transformation, as Anna talked about, even with the Scorpio full moon, like what are we transforming here? What are we putting into the fire to make bigger? What are we planting the seeds for? What's growing? So Beltane is a really fun time. Things that we love to do in our family are we like to make like a cake that there's honey involved somehow, like in the frosting, that give some of that bee fairy energy in there. Fairies love that. Violets and dandelions, and where we live anyway, they're growing already in my yard. I've got violets and dandelions everywhere, so we pick those with the kids, and we'll like decorate cake with that, or we'll use the violets to make like a violet lemonade, and we use honey to sweeten the lemonade. We just love to like have generalized merriment on Beltane with a fire and desserts and treats and just have fun. Welcome, be like welcome back. You know, it's warm. It's getting warm. It's actually warm enough to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
And that like general merriment. Yeah. And if you're a person who works with fairy energy or elementals, like salamanders, fairies, trolls, like dragons, if you're a dragon person, whatever, this is a great time to like set up a sacred space for those elementals. We have a tree in our yard that we call the fairy tree. So my kids will put flowers there. They'll put like a little, like maybe a little food plate with a little piece of a cookie or something. And so we look for fairies. We set food out at the fairy tree. We read a lot of fairy books. And it's just like one of those in between times where we're going from the cold, the like everything's dead, and really like, so, you know, that moment where one day you go to sleep and the next day all the trees have bloomed and you're like, wow, that happened fast. Mm-hmm. That's Beltane energy, you know? Wow, that happened fast.
I will speak for us. I'm speaking for you that we actually really enjoy some Beltane. Mm-hmm. That's like probably one of the times of the year. I mean, Sarah and I get together regularly because we live 5 minutes down the road from each other, but Beltane is one of those times that we like take it as the excuse to like
have a party,
get together
I know.
at Sarah's house and like light a fire and make some delicious,
lots of sugar and honey.
Yes, some adult cocktails
beverages,
of floral scents or some sun tea. We're like, it's what we're having Beltane tacos.
I know.
what it's Beltane. Of course we're having a meal and some drinks and lighting our fire because we're welcoming it in. It's one of our favorite times to actually like get together with an excuse to get together. I say that because Sarah's husband's really funny, and he's like, whenever I'm there and he comes out and he sees me on the couch, he's like, what in the world are you doing here? And I'm there a lot, but when and we don't tell him that I'm there, but when it's something like Beltane, we're like, it's Beltane.
I know. we're light here. The fire, get the flower crowns out. Everyone must wear a flower crown.
Exactly.
Where's your cloaks, flower crowns?
Exactly.
A beverage that's been churned blue or purple somehow.
It's great.
Must be colored. Must be delicious.
There's no arguing with the fact that it's Beltane.
Yeah, no. We'll be sure to link it up under this, but we have a printable guide with all kinds of fun ideas for a whole family, just yourself. Lots of cool stuff to do at Beltane, but really like fairies, fires, that sexy naked maypole energy. We are not naked running around maypoles in my yard, I will tell you that. But you know, you can make we have a lot of community members who will often make a tabletop maypole out of like a stick and then put the ribbons on it, and they'll put it in some clay and make like one for their altar space. That's a really super fun activity to do. And it's really just like dancing in your wishes for the coming year, the coming season rather. The next we move into the light months officially on Beltane. So Beltane through Samhain, Halloween, that's the light half of the year in the wheel of the year. And then Halloween, Samhain through Beltane is the dark months. So we are emerging. Our Scorpio full moon is coming to set the stage. I know it is. I'm really excited. We have to start planning our merriment.
You're going to be here, right?
Yes.
I'm never sure if you're going to be here or not.
No, it's my Scorpio Sagittarius self. I just can't stay in one place. Y'all don't even know me. Like literally in one conversation, I will flip-flop in an idea 5 different times. Or like I'm recording this from our office space. And like every other day that I'm here, I'm like, why do we even have this office? We don't need this. And then I'm like, oh, thank goodness we have the office. Why do we have this office? We don't need this. Oh, thank goodness we have the office. It's constant.
Why I need a notebook. I need to like have a notebook so I can like cross things out as you take them back.
But you know what though? This is what
I need a transcriber. You need somebody that follows you around with a keyboard.
I know. But this is what it means to understand your true nature though. Like I know this about myself. So now, I mean, years ago, And even a few years ago, if somebody said, well, Sarah, I just can't keep up with you, I'd be like, well, that's your problem, not mine. But now I'm like, well, no, I understand how that's challenging. I understand that can be challenging. So like, what do we do? You know, like now I see that about myself. Yes, that's true. Am I going to change? Not likely. So what do we do? How do we figure this out? But that's understanding your true nature. And then it's like releasing resistance to your true nature. That would be a perfect thing to do with Scorpio full moon. Yes. Releasing your resistance to your true nature. You are who you are, you know, you can be better. Like you can grow. I don't want to say be better. You can grow. You can grow and you can change, but like you are who you are. Your personality is your personality. You know, I'm fast moving, quick changing. And that both is a hindrance and it's also amazing. Like because of that, we have the Sisters Enchanted.
It is a sight to be seen.
I know we just hired 2 new people here at Team TSC, and I was like, oh no, it's 2 more people who get to see the inner workings of my brain.
Mm-hmm. It's very fascinating because we both have a lot of Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to see how.
I never realized how much Scorpio I had until, because it's just like the standard birth chart it shows me the 2 things. And then like I saw the South Node, which would be a 3rd thing, and then Juno, which you told me about some other time. So with the 4 things in there, yeah. All right.
Working on your line of rulership for your chart.
Okay, then I'm gonna call you later and be like, so I'm coming to visit
rulership
so that you can tell me all these things. All right. Well, everybody, thank you, Anna, for hanging out.
Thanks, Sarah.
And it was fun. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're catching this, because when you subscribe, what that does is it tells the powers that be at the internet, the modern gods of technology, that we don't suck so bad. And we would love to share this with other people. So if you would subscribe, so 1, you don't miss anything. And 2, it's a thing you can do in 3 seconds and it helps us out in like immense ways. So subscribe so you don't miss anything. If you are not yet registered for our Tarot Throwdown program, get your patootie in there. I've been talking about it for weeks. It's at tarotthrowdown.com. When you register right now, you will be in for our 5th birthday celebration happening May 23rd. It's all online, it's virtual, and we'll have the replays for you. So we have a great lineup of guests. Our friend Jen Zanke, the Stardust Wanderer Tarot, is going to be presenting. My friend Heather of Tea and Tarot, she's talking herbal tarot with us. She's an amazing herbalist. My friend, I didn't tell Anna this, my friend Tia, she's one of my best friends from college. She's been studying tarot and mediumship for years now, and she just hung her shingle as a professional medium and tarot reader. And she's going to be talking to us about what it took her, she's going to be talking about the growth, like what it took to gain the confidence to finally do the thing, because she has been studying tarot and mediumship for many a year.
That's the best news.
She finally did it. So I was like, listen, I would love for you to talk about the journey and the confidence journey to actually putting yourself out there, because I know that she's been doing this for years. Yes. And that she's been, especially tarot. I don't know why she wasn't reading tarot professionally years ago. So she's going to talk to us about confidence. I'm going to give a presentation. Anna's going to give one. It's going to be great. So you want to be in for that.
I'm so excited. You just blew my mind.
I know. Didn't even forgot to tell you that Tia is a treat. She's a treat. I have 2 best friends from college. One is also named Sarah. Not myself. It's another Sarah. Who does not read tarot. She's got her MBA from an Ivy League college, and it's I don't know what she's doing. Something very highly professional where she wears heels and blazers. But she's doing that. And then Tia, I do wear blazers and heels, but not like Sarah. She's super professional.
I know.
And then and then Tia, she's my other best friend from college. So
some of my best memories
are with Tia.
That's really fun. She's hilarious. I'm so excited. So you don't want to miss it for sure, because Tia is so great, and I'm so excited that she's going to be here. Yay!
Yep. So register tarotthrowdown.com. We'd love to have you. When you register for Tarot Throwdown, you also have the opportunity to be an affiliate for the class. Share it with your friends and make some moolah in your hands. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, we hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead.